If you've been watching for a while, you'll know I've got a bit of a thing about mechanical keyboards, and my quest to find the perfect one has led me to these three. Let's find out which is best for you. Yes, I've scoured the internet for the best low-profile mechanical keyboards that are on offer, and these three keep showing up. The Keychron K3 Pro, the Nuphy Air 75, and the Logitech MX Mechanical Mini. Here's the thing, each of these have got different features that make them special, but broadly they're very evenly matched. So I've reached a conclusion. If you're considering one of these three keyboards, the one that's going to work for you is probably as much about your personality as it is the keyboard itself. And in this video, we're going to compare each of these and talk about which kind of personality these keyboards might work best with the help of some friends of mine from the Marvel Universe. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and of course, the Black Widow. See if you can match up the characters to the keyboard. I'm going to leave some clues along the way for you. Keep a close eye out for those. Let's start with the common features that these three keyboards share. So they all have a 75% size, which is great for portability if you're a bit of a digital nomad like me. Each of these come with some form of customizable backlighting effects. You can use all of these keyboards with up to 3 devices. They're rechargeable, so they can be used wireless and wired using the latest Bluetooth protocols. They're all ergonomically designed with flip-up feet to adjust your typing position, and they include some custom keys for things like media, playback, lighting, emojis, and more, and they're each customizable to an extent. I'll talk more about that later. So let's move on to what makes each of these different and which of my MCU pals they might appeal to. If you fancy playing along, let me know down in the comments. I'll cover who I think these are for right at the end of the video. And we're going to start with the Nuphy Air 75. Now this keyboard has been around for a while, and I do own their 96% keyboard already, but if you saw that video, you'll remember I said this. Maybe I should grab an Air 75 as well. To be continued. So I did, and wow, what a firecracker this little keyboard is. Starting with looks, this is the standard keycap set, although you can buy lots of different ones. I really like the fact that this really stands out as being a bit different with these mint green, yellow and red key color splashes, along with the contrast of white and grey across the board. Now, they've actually just updated this with the new 2.0 switches, which come with pre-lubed goodness and reduced 13.5mm springs. If you've already got one of these and you're not sure if you've got the new switches, you can check underneath. If the bottom of the switch is white, it's the new switches. Elsewhere, this is probably the most showy keyboard of the three, with a full RGB light set as standard. Now, this PBT keycaps aren't shine through, but you get these little light bars on the side with different effects that you can scroll through. Plus, the lights under the keys are pretty bright. I'm not a huge fan of the rainbow look, but there's plenty here if you want it. If you're used to pulling an all-nighter, you can also buy a shine-through keycap set. On that note, let's run a quick sound and typing test. Here's what it sounds like with the blue keys on. And here's what it sounds like with the extra wisteria switches that I picked up. I really like these wisteria switches. They're a bit kind of clickier than the browns, and these will work well if you're sharing a workspace with someone. I do like the super clicky blues too, but if you're sharing an office space, you're probably going to drive everyone around the bend with these. One of the more unusual things about this is that it's designed to allow you to put it directly on top of a laptop. So if you don't like the way your laptop keys feel or sound, you can just pop it on the keys like this and just type away. It's got these little feet on the bottom which stop the keyboard slipping around. It's not just MacBooks that this works with. A full set of laptops and makes can be found on the Nuphy website. When it comes to portability, this is pretty light, and you can buy this new folio case to accompany your keyboard. I happen to think this looks super smart, and it does a pretty good job of protecting your precious keyboard when you're out and about. Plus, it doubles up as a stand, so if you're wanting to do some quick typing on an iPad or similar, you can prop this up as a little portable workstation. Pretty cool, eh? And finally, on to battery life. The Nuphy has a 2,500 milliamp hour battery, which reports up to 48 hours of battery life. I've certainly found this is easily enough to spend a whole week working on it without needing to worry about running it in cabled mode to recharge. Now, price-wise, you're going to be looking at about $110 for this, but you'll need to factor in a bit extra for the new folio case and any extra switches or keycaps you might want. I also picked up this wooden wrist rest, which I think is lovely and matches the keyboard really nicely. So the whole package I paid for, which included the keyboard, the case, the wrist rest and extra switches, cost $167.45. Now, another quick note on Nuphy, I had a problem when my Air 96 arrived. It had horrible smudges on some of the keys, and full credit to them, they dealt with my support request super quickly and sent me all the spares out that I needed. Really impressive customer support, and I know my experience isn't unusual. Next, let's take a look at the Keychron K3 Pro. Keychron have been making mechanical keyboards for what seems like ages and really broke into the low profile market with their flagship K3 product, which was upgraded to the version 2 just a short while ago. And the K3 Pro was released last year, promising double shot PBT keycaps for enhanced responsiveness, a longer battery life, and VIA software enabled for endless possibilities of reprogramming the keys and enabling complex macros. They also redesigned the stabilizers and the keycaps so you theoretically get less wobble compared to previous K3 versions. This one has a 1000 Hz polling rate when it's wired up, so you're going to get next to no latency, which is great if you're going to be using this for gaming. Now, the curious thing about this keyboard, which a number of viewers have picked up on, is that it does have backlights. I went for the white ones, although full RGB is available, but bizarrely the keycaps on offer are not shine through, so if you like that look, well, you're a bit stuck. Let's put this through a quick typing, sound and speed test, and this one has the brown switches installed. Now, the thing about the sound profile, which you might have noticed, is that whilst these are pretty stealthy, they sound a lot louder than a lot of brown switches on other boards you might have seen and heard, which is interesting. Now, I do wonder whether the harsher sound I think I'm hearing here is in fact because the keycaps are hitting the plate underneath. If you've got any idea, just drop a comment below. On to battery life. The battery size here is 1550 milliamp hours, which is less than the Nuphy, but interestingly, Keychron claim you can expect up to 100 hours of battery life on the K3 Pro, depending on how much you use those backlights. So, you know, it's pint size, but it just keeps on going. Portability wise, the K3 Pro doesn't come with any kind of specialist carry case, but they do offer this kind of leather pouch for all the K3 models. It's fine and it's going to protect your keyboard from getting scratched or scuffed in your bag, but you'll find it's not a hard case or anything, so its protective abilities are a bit limited. Keychron do have a generic hardshell carrying case available for most of their keyboards, and for the K3 Pro it comes in at about $30. And in terms of different layouts, there's tons on offer here. So mine is the standard layout in this black, grey and red profile, but you can also get an all-white version. I actually really like this look. I think it looks super clean. Keychron also sell this in ISO layouts for UK, German, Swiss, Nordic, French and Spanish, but with those you don't get that lovely light colour option. I've not personally had any issues that would require me to contact Keychron support, but I have had comments on many of my other keyboard videos to say that Keychron support experience is still in need of some work. Now, if you run into problems with this one, chances are you might be better off fixing it yourself rather than waiting for Keychron to come through for you. Finally, price-wise, you're going to be looking at $94 for this one with the white backlight, and then another $10 on top of that if you want the RGBs, or $114 if you want one of the specialist ISO layouts. And finally, we have this from Logitech, the MX Mechanical Mini for Mac, all of the M's. This is a relatively new keyboard, and it's interesting to see Logitech taking a leap into the mechanical keyboard space after being a pretty constant presence in the world of other wireless and wired keyboards offerings for years now. And the key benefit here, that's a really good pun, I should have definitely used that before now. Yeah, the key benefit is that if you're using another Logitech product like the all-conquering MX Master Mouse, you're onto a winner. Logitech have got their own customization software called Logi Options, and this allows you to customize the keyboard in a similar way to the mouse so that certain key combinations will do different things in different contexts and when you're using certain apps. The other thing Logitech offer, which you're not going to find elsewhere, is their Flow technology, which enables you to type on multiple Mac computers as well as transfer files about in one fluid workflow. In practice, this works really well, and in my testing, I found it to work just as well, sometimes actually better than AirDrop. So I've got to talk to you about the battery on this keyboard. It's like it's in a time machine or something. This thing is a monster when it comes to battery life. It has a 1500 milliamp hour battery, and if you're using the backlight, it'll go for about 15 days, which is on a par with the K3 Pro. But with the backlights off, it'll last for up to, get ready for it, 10 months, which is just astonishingly impressive for a single charge. Let's put this through a quick typing test. So this one has got the tactile quiet switches on. Logitech have got 3 options to choose from, and even though they don't call them this, it's basically brown, red or blue. Now, it's really difficult to convey this over a video, but this has got a really unusual feeling to type on. Whilst the Nuphy and the Keychron have got quite a nice bounce and feedback from each key press, the Logitech feels kind of mushy by comparison. However, the sound is probably the quietest of them all. So if you're looking for a mechanical option that is smart, clean looking, and isn't going to disturb anyone around you in a shared workspace, this might just be a trade-off you need to make. So this kind of mushy, almost sticky feeling has got me wondering whether this is a generic design thing or whether they just feel any different with maybe the linear or the clicky options. I suspect not, but if you've got this keyboard in any of the other configurations, let me know in the comments. And so if you don't like any of these switches and you want to swap them out for something else, tough. You can't swap them out, unlike the Nuphy and Keychron options. I mean, in an extreme case, you can just sort of perform surgery and take the keyboard to bits, but who wants to do that? Portability wise, this is the heaviest of all 3 keyboards by some way, and you'll feel that weight as soon as you lift it out of the packaging. If you popped it into your tech bag, for sure, you'd know it was there. There's no obvious Logitech case that you can buy, but there are plenty of third-party hard case options available on Amazon that'll set you back about as much as the Nuphy and the Keychron offerings. And on the subject of price, this one retails at $150, which is a touch more than the others we looked at, but I would say you are paying for that amazing battery life here, as well as that lovely integration with the other products in Logitech's MX range. Okay, so let's wrap this up, and before we do, who do you think these keyboards are for? Let's see if you've matched them up in the same way I have. So back to the Nuphy Air 75. For me, this is a cheerful, optimistic, bouncy, quirky, eccentric kind of thing. I mean, just look at these options for your keycaps. These colour schemes are just a breath of fresh air in a sea of greys and blacks, and they're guaranteed to put a smile on your face as soon as you see them. It's just an easy, dependable board, and to me, this is a classic match to Iron Man. And you don't need to be a genius, billionaire, playboy or philanthropist to afford it either. Next up, we have the Keychron. This thing is solid as a rock, unflappable, the sort of keyboard you probably have with you if you were defusing a bomb and you absolutely needed the most accurate, unstoppable thing around. It's pretty stealthy as well, with those keycaps that light up but don't shine through. And for me, this is Natasha's keyboard, the Black Widow. If you've got red in your ledger and you don't mind getting the job done all by yourself, this eye-catching keyboard with a splash of colour on the escape button is probably for you. Which brings us to the only inevitable conclusion with our final keyboard. This clinical, minimal, logical, surgical option is for the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Doctor Strange. This keyboard works well with others, providing that the others are basically the same type of person, if you know what I mean. So what do you reckon, folks? Which of these are you going to be picking up? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in any of the products I've shown today, I will leave some links to everything down in the description below. Meanwhile, if you found this helpful, go on, let me know with a like, and if you'd like to see more like this, maybe even a cheeky subscribe. Oh, and if you enjoyed this one, perhaps you'll be interested to see what I made of this 96% size beauty from Nuphy. It's coming up in a second. See you next time.